Welcome back, everyone. We return.
Heyo.
Alright, let's pick a fight with this mob, since he has... Well, he's glittering, so that means we can use his mount to take us to where we need to go. Okay, it may be possible that I leveled up too much. Okay, so
You're just too good at this game, I guess.
There we go. We just need to... Oh, there we go. It's the A button. And we just skither up this trail here and here.
Like a giant insect type of a situation?
Yeah, it's some...
Not 6 legs.
Well, it can't be an insect since it has a skeleton. I mean, it is a skeleton, but...
Well, then how do you know that's not its exoskeleton, then?
It doesn't look like an exoskeleton. You know, it has, like, ribs.
Fair point, I guess.
Look, I'm not a biologist, but...
I want to be like a fantasy creature biologist.
That'd be kind of neat. Okay, there we go. So, whee! So that was, there were people coming up with stuff kind of like that in old D&D. Like, if you read the 2nd edition monster manuals, they would come up with the, oh, there absolutely are, and I don't understand it, NB. It's like, we literally fought a war in 1776 to not give a shit about the monarchy. Oh, hey, Veronica could be healed up. And...
To me, they've always been, like, just a spectacle and not people that, like, actually did things or existed in the real world.
yeah,
Like,
I
this is
just...
a reality TV show, I'm pretty sure.
Basically. Oh, the bird can cast Sizzle. No me gusta. Okay.
Prince What's-His-Face moved to Canada, apparently, to, like, get away from the royal family.
Oh, yeah, he was the one that got married and people made a big deal about it because racism.
Yeah, because racism.
Oh, boy.
Can't have a black princess. I don't actually know if she's black. I forget.
Okay, so Harvest Moon should do appreciable damage to this guy. There we go. One hit knockout. Well, almost one hit knockout. Oh, and the Elysium Bird can heal. Well, not for long. And it's poisoned. Awesome. No double slash.
Yeah, coming to terms with the fact that, like, it makes sense that both, like, Canada and the US are obsessed with Britain because they taught us colonialism, and we're like, oh, we can do that too.
Check this shit out.
But, like, modernize it and make it even more brutal.
The one that I still can't get over was the Dutch East India Company just massacring the natives of an island to get nutmeg. It's like, Jesus, really? I mean, nutmeg's good and all. Don't get me wrong, but maybe don't massacre people for it.
TV. Oh. I've seen a meme that's like, please, sir, at least use the spices. Britain's like, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Britain's like, actually, we're going to buy them from you, process them, and sell them back to you.
Yeah, I mean, nobody goes to Britain for the food.
I've never understood the appeal of visiting Britain. I'm just like, there's probably some cool historical things, but also like,
I mean,
weird.
I have some
Like,
friends that I've...
also, as a Doctor Who nerd, I want to go to London to be like, oh my god, Doctor Who was there, and it was there, and it was there.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the modern series, you'd mostly be going to Cardiff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to take a photo next to an actual police box.
Yeah, fair.
It really does, NB. Oh, there we go. Obligatory treasure chest behind a waterfall. Goddamn Dragon Quest. You really know how to stick to those tropes.
I keep trying to look behind waterfalls in Dragon Age, and it keeps being disappointing. I'm like, what do you mean I can't go behind the waterfall? There's
I
supposed to be
swear.
secrets behind waterfalls.
Yeah, there's like regulations and shit. So there was a waterfall.
It's supposed to be mysterious.
There's actually a waterfall back home that most of the year is not visually impressive. It's a relatively small amount of water coming from the river above, and that's fine. I'm not gonna water shame it.
I'm not gonna shame the waterfall for being a small waterfall.
Small waterfall humiliation. So anyway, but you can. There's a path in the stone that you can walk behind it, which is pretty cool. But when it gets really neat is in the winter when the falling water freezes over and keeps building on itself with more and more ice. It's just this massive column of ice, and you can get relatively close to it from the path behind it. And I just think that's nifty.
I'd poke it.
I don't know how anyone could resist. Okay, so I'm gonna head back to the academy. There we go.
I have had the opportunity to see the Toronto side of Niagara Falls.
Oh, cool.
So that was cool. It was very brief, and it was also like a stormy day. So it's like, is this the water from Niagara Falls, or is this me just getting rained on?
Yeah, I remember, this is an early memory for me. My parents saw that David Copperfield had a special one night, so they woke me up to see it, which I definitely appreciated.
Remind me who David Copperfield.
Magician.
Oh, right. I remember now.
Yep. So he did a bit where he was supposed to do an escape from a... He's tied up and put in a barrel and put on a raft that was supposed to go over Niagara Falls, which would absolutely...
I totally have seen clips of it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that would absolutely kill the hell out of him if it went badly. But of course, not only does the barrel go over the falls, he's suddenly on the shore on the Canadian side, and it's like, oh, look at me. I did magician shit.
Ta-da, motherfucker. I'm in Canada.
Yes, I used magic to cross the border illegally.
I feel like it was probably cleared.
Just maybe.
Canada's like, oh, David Copperfield wants to cross our border? Yes, please.
Yeah, I don't think he had any real problems doing that. Although, probably my favorite trick of his, because it's one of those ones where when you learn about it, you're like, really? You actually did this? Is the time he made the Statue of Liberty disappear? And the way it...
I've never heard of this.
Yep. He did a vanish on the Statue of Liberty and then brought it back. which is probably good because I imagine the Ellis Island people would not be amused if it were missing. So what he did is he had everyone on a stage that rotated very slowly. So everyone's seated, curtains are up, there's the Statue of Liberty, curtains are up, and then it ever so slowly moves while he's doing his patter and distracting them, and then when he opens the curtains, oh, the statue's gone. And it seems so corny now, but I'm like, hey, it worked. I mean, kudos to him for thinking that through.
Right?
Just the person I wanted to talk to.
Okay, so
Yeah, I always wonder how tricks are thought of. That's the most interesting part to me.
the way I understand it,
I'm just the amount of brainstorming and stuff. From,
oh yeah, it's absolutely a process. And the thing you need to consider is that if it sounds like it would be more effort than any reasonable person would take, that could very well be it.
Yeah.
There's some that I was able to figure out from a little prior experience, but there's a lot that I can't even touch. There was a pretty good one that it was obvious they were using a friendly, and that always works fairly well. It's okay, we're gonna have a random member of the audience come up and we'll do this and this, and of course the random member of the audience is a plant, somebody who has the number that's going to be drawn randomly from on stage, and you see little things like that, but then somebody always pulls out this last minute twist and you're just going, really? How? Okay, I need to check my map here, because now that we've been to the Erie,
it makes me want to watch the Now You See Me movie.
that one was fun. I actually saw that in the theater, because I was interested enough in the premise.
Yeah, so did I.
Look up clips of Penn and Teller's Fool Us on YouTube. All of them that I've seen have been well worth it. The one with his kid, and I gotta be ambiguous there because I do not know their pronouns at this point. The one with her kid was pretty wild because they started by fooling Penn and telling him that they were going to be in England, and then they appeared on the show while they should have been overseas. That's a good start. But I think they're transmasc, but they might be non-binary. None of these seem applicable, so I'll just
My brain is of course a magician kid would be fuck gender.
Yeah, we start with one gender, and now we'll wave of this curtain. Ta-da!
Different gender.
Wait a minute, don't I have... Yeah, I have Metal Slash. Does that apply here? It does not. That's just normal damage.
NBS says magic is inherently queer, much like Wicca.
True dat. Okay, well, you know what?
Queer is inherently magic.
I am riding a metal slime, and I think that's amazing. Okay, so we're gonna head south towards Framner.
It makes me wanna bounce on one of those giant exercise balls.
It's funny. I remember Penn had an interview with Chris Angel, and he said, "You know what? I think you were way smarter than I was because we keep having to censor the name of our show, but you called it Mind Freak, and we know what you're actually saying, and you don't have to censor yourself." It's yeah, you probably should have thought that through, dude.
That's funny.
I remember they wanted to do an episode on Scientology, but the HBO lawyers were like, we can't afford the lawsuits.
From fucking Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Well, the Church of Scientology is infamous for being litigious. I mean,
Ooh, good word.
well, I guess it makes sense. They were founded by a sci-fi author, and Harlan Ellison is known for suing the hell out of people for little to no reason. It's like they say.
That it was founded by a sci-fi author.
Well, South Park also credited everybody in the episode as John Smith, which probably helps.
Like, actually, no one was in this episode.
Yep. I think by that time, yeah, he did. And he was definitely pressured by the church to do that.
We'll have to make our way through town and over the top of the mountain together. Let's split up and see what we can find out on the way.
Huh.
What's that?
Just what NB said. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. It was unfortunate because, like, they had made fun of plenty of religions at that point, and then Isaac Hayes got pissy about Scientology. I'm like, it's obvious that it's just yours, that you're upset about.
Did he try to say he had a problem with the, like, making fun of
With
things in general?
no, well, he tried to say, he tried to make a comment along the lines of, oh, we shouldn't be, treating people's sacred beliefs like this, etc., etc. And I'm like, I would believe you had a point if it wasn't something that was regularly done on the show.
Right. I feel like, also, how long had this person been with the show?
I want to say it was 9 or 10 years at that point.
Yeah, that's like, okay, if you had a problem, you could have left, dude.
Yeah, it just it felt like he'd been pressured by the church, and then they had the episode where they kill him in the. Oh man, that's just one of those things that like they can say they're not a cult, but that is cult 101 stuff right there. You got to isolate your people from the outsiders or suppressive persons. Oh, boy. Alright, so I guess we're just supposed to go to the ruins. Oh, yeah, the way they killed Chef was hilarious. It's like, man, make sure I never piss them off. Actually, wait, what do I care? I'm nobody. Man, I used to be able to enjoy that show, but the problem is I keep thinking about the thesis of the show, and I go, ah, God, that is a problem.
The poor thing's lost her parents. Oh, don't cry, sweetie. It's all right. We'll help you find them. Now, why don't you tell me your name?
I didn't know they had a thesis.
Well, it's kind of a recurring thing in the show that caring about things is lame. If you were to boil all of the show down to anything, it would mostly come down to that. And that's led to, yeah, the centrists who basically cover for conservatives, and they have some hot takes. So it's just it's depressing every now and then. I look at the probably 9 or 10 box sets of South Park on my shelf, and I'm like, oh boy, not sure what to do with this.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
I ended up like giving away all of my Harry Potter stuff. Every time I looked at it, I was just like transphobia, and it would make my brain angry. So I'm just like,
Totally fair.
I'm not gonna look at any of this stuff anymore. I got rid of so much stuff during this most recent move. It was so
You came for a look at the mural everyone's talking about too, huh?
like,
Yeah, I have a friend of mine. Every now and then, she posts on Snapchat, and I see the Harry Potter novels. I'm like, how do you still have those around? But I still have those South Park DVDs, so I guess I can't really point fingers here.
She's not exactly in the best
like for me,
but yes, you're right. She's
it
beautiful.
served its purpose when I needed it when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and when I wasn't educated about things. And now that I am, there's no excuse to have it in my life anymore.
Besides, there's a far better series of novels about a wizard named Harry, and that's the Dresden Files. What's that?
I said Dresden.
Yep, absolutely. And he has a cat named Mister.
Read those, because how much you hyped them up, I'm like, I feel like I would actually really like this series.
I mean,
But also, my brain will not fucking allow me to read books.
what if I read it to you?
Impressive lady here. You'd realize that didn't sound anything like Honey
That would be really sweet. I'd probably fall asleep, honestly. Not because you're boring. Because your voice is too relaxing.
I love the fact that he has a cat named Mister, but the
I remember you asking me really early on
Yes.
if Mr. was a Harry Dresden, a Dresden Files reference, and I'm like, no, I didn't mean it to be, but like it can be.
well the audiobooks are actually read by a guy who was in the Buffy series, James Marsters. I don't know who the character is in that show though. Or is it Marsden? God, I'm terrible.
Marsden sounds like a name as well.
Okay, Persephone is saying it's Spike. So is it
Oh
me?
my god, really? I love that man's voice so much.
Yeah, he read the audiobooks, all except for Ghost Story. Because he was otherwise unavailable, so they had somebody else do Ghost Story. And like, oh, okay, so this is just... When he's dead, he has a different voice.
Yeah, fair.
So you're looking for this kid's parents, huh? Well, we got nothing better to do. Let's see what we can find.
But yeah, the Dresden Files has some of the most... has a few of the most, oh wow, first lines I've ever seen in a book. The funniest to date is still, the building was on fire and it wasn't my fault.
And you're like, are you sure, buddy?
I think that was a correct assessment on his part. I don't think it was his fault. But it is one of my top 3 opening lines to a novel.
I don't know the exact quote, but one of the novels that I read when I was working as receptionist, and it was like a slow day.
Mm-hmm.
They very much were like, yeah, read at the front desk, that's fine, as long as you still answer the phone. And I'm like, cool. But anyways, opening line to one of the books was, I was dead. Let me explain.
Good start. It. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's absolutely a good start. It's like, okay, this is unusual. You've got me. You've pulled me in.
Yep. The hook line.
Yep. Or the first line of the first Dark Tower book. The man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed. It's like, okay, we have a protagonist, an antagonist. We're in Medeus Rens. Awesome. Let's see what happens from here.
I am in. Let me know how this works out, please.
Precisely.
I am beyond intrigued.
And I'm also really fond of that first line in Neuromancer. It's so evocative. And that was, the sky above the port was the color of television tuned to a dead channel. Just really sets the mood. And it's